In the blistering heat of an Arizona summer, long before the railroads carved their iron trails across the desert, a lone cowboy named Rowan Briggs rode the barren lands searching for stray cattle, never expecting fate to steer him into a mystery older than any map. Rowan was not like the other ranchers, rough men who believed land was there simply because they wanted it. He lived quiet, spoke little, and had a code sharper than his own. Bowie knife. Take only what's yours. But that code would be tested the day his horse stumbled upon a hidden canyon deep within Apache territory, a place no white man had reason or permission to enter. The canyon walls glimmered strangely, and when Rowan dismounted to investigate, he felt his breath catch in his chest. Embedded in the rock like stars frozen in stone were thick veins of raw, untouched gold, fortune beyond imagination. Enough to buy half the West, enough to buy the rest twice over. Rowan touched the stone, feeling its weight, feeling destiny tugging at him, but he also felt eyes watching. Turning slowly, he saw 3 Apache warriors step from the shadows. Bows drawn, their expressions carved from stone. He lifted his hands, ready for death, but instead, the eldest warrior, painted with red clay symbols of his lineage, stepped forward and studied Rowan's calm, steady eyes. "You see gold," the warrior said. "Most men would take it, even if it meant blood." Rowan lowered his gaze. "Ain't mine," he replied quietly. "Land speaks clear. A man ought to listen." The warriors exchanged glances, surprised, cautious, perhaps even respectful. Instead of killing him, they escorted him to their hidden settlement perched between 2 sandstone mesas. Rowan expected judgment. Maybe trial, maybe torture. But what he found was far more unexpected. The Apache saw him as something rare, a man with restraint. They questioned him for hours, asking why he didn't take the gold. Rowan simply said, "A treasure that costs another man's peace ain't treasure. It's a curse." His honesty struck the Apache chief Taza, who had seen too many miners steal sacred places and poison water for gold. Taza told Rowan something no outsider had ever heard. "That canyon is sacred. The gold you touched is not for men to chase. It belongs to the earth." Rowan nodded, accepting the truth as if he'd known it all along. Before they let him go, Taza warned him that no one must ever know what he saw. "Speak of the gold," the chief said, "and your life ends." Rowan agreed without hesitation. He left Apache land richer in spirit but with empty hands. But the encounter changed him. He spent the next years of his life defending the Apache whenever conflicts flared with settlers, telling ranchers to leave their water sources untouched, telling drifters to respect the trails that cut through the mesas. Many mocked him for it, called him Injun lover, spat at his boots, but Rowan never cared. He knew he had walked away from enough gold to retire 10 times over, but he also knew he had kept his soul. What Rowan didn't know was that the Apache had been watching him ever since that day in the canyon, watching the way he defended them, the way he kept the secret, the way he honored land that did not belong to him. And in their silence, they made a decision. One day this cowboy will be repaid. But destiny makes its moves slowly. Years passed. Drought hit. Rowan grew poorer. His ranch grew weaker. And the world forgot Rowan Briggs. Everyone except the Apache. And 13 years after walking away from gold that could have made him a legend, Rowan would learn that good deeds never die. They only wait for the right moment to rise. 13 long years after Rowan Briggs first stepped into that sacred canyon, the desert had changed, and so had he. His once thriving ranch was now a shrinking patch of dust and brittle grass, his cattle wandering farther each season in search of water that simply wasn't there anymore. The drought had gripped the land like a fist, and every rancher felt its chokehold. But none worse than Rowan. He worked from before sunrise till the stars appeared, patching fences, saving strays, selling off cattle just to buy feed. Yet every month dragged him closer to ruin. One evening, as fire-red clouds melted into twilight, Rowan sat on his porch, hat low, boots dusty, wondering if it was time to give up the land he'd built with his own hands. He whispered to the wind, "I reckon I'm done." But the desert wasn't finished with him. As night settled, Faint hoofbeats echoed from the north ridge. Rowan reached for his rifle before, realizing the riders approaching, moved with the silent precision of ghosts, Apache warriors. Riding in a formation as dignified as a procession, they stopped before his porch. Rowan stood slowly, unsure if this was trouble, but the lead rider dismounted and stepped forward. It was Chief Taza's son Kaya, now older, taller, with the bearing of a leader. "Rowan Briggs," Kaya said, "you are summoned." Rowan blinked. "Summoned by who?" Kaya pointed to the stars. "By those who remember." Without argument, Rowan saddled his horse and followed them through moonlit paths, carved by centuries of Apache footsteps. Hours passed until they reached the same hidden canyon, the place Rowan had not seen since the day he walked away from the gold. When they arrived, the canyon was alive with torchlight. Elders stood waiting, and in the center, on a blanket of red sand, lay an object wrapped carefully in deerskin. Kaya gestured. 13 years ago you found what was not yours," he said. "You kept it sacred. You defended our people, even when your own people mocked you." Rowan lowered his head, unsure what to say. Kaya continued, "Our law says a man who honors the earth becomes part of its memory. Our memory has not forgotten you." With reverence, he unwrapped the deerskin. Rowan's eyes widened. Inside lay a massive gold nugget, larger than anything he had ever seen, purified,